Hello, thanks for tuning in. In this episode, we'll be looking at a systematic review published in Plos One this month, in which mRNA vaccines have been reported as being the most effective against COVID-19. In fact, the results published in this article show that these are the only ones that are certainly effective and at a high extent. They reduce the chance of being infected by coronavirus 20 times. That is a 2,000% decrease in likelihood you will get COVID-19. It includes the most important variants up to and including Delta. No systematic reviews regarding the Omicron variant have been yet published, but some studies have already reported booster vaccination results are reassuring. If you're not familiar with systematic reviews, take a look at our previous episode to get a better idea. What's important to know is that although systematic reviews based on randomized controlled trials provide the highest level of evidence, 3 to 5 studies are usually not enough to conduct a proper meta-analysis. However, in certain cases, it can be obvious whether a certain exposure represents a protective factor or a risk factor. Amid the urgency of the global pandemic, numerous systematic reviews incorporating just a few studies and sometimes ignoring heterogeneity have been published. In such cases, it is essential that the systematic search and the exclusion of studies has been done following the best practices. See GRADE, PRISMA, or the Cochrane Handbook for Systematic Reviews of Interventions. The article mentioned above incorporates 2 meta-analyses. One in regard to the relationship between COVID-19 vaccination and all-cause mortality, which is very questionable due to insufficient data and we will not discuss today. And another in regard to the effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccination. The latter does provide very insightful findings, some of which are obvious and stand out. mRNA vaccines, that is the Moderna and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines, decrease the risk of being infected by SARS-CoV-2 20 times. The pooled risk ratio and its 95% confidence interval is 0.05 from 0.03 to 0.08. The narrowness of the confidence interval and the absence of heterogeneity denote increased precision and reduced variance between populations. We cannot be sure if protein subunit vaccines, such as Novavax, are effective or not against COVID-19. The 95% confidence interval shows the effect is not statistically significant. However, inactivated and viral vector vaccines seem to also have a protective effect, but when calculating the prediction interval, it is clear that more data is required to confirm their efficacy. Using interval, we can easily calculate the prediction intervals. We entered the effect size, the lower and upper bounds of the pooled confidence interval, the number of studies included, and the tau squared value. In the case of inactivated vaccines, such as Sinovac's CoronaVac, the 95% prediction interval for the risk ratio is 0.04 to 2.79. That is not significant. In the case of viral vector vaccines, such as the Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca vaccines, the 95% prediction interval for the risk ratio is 0.05 to 2.09. Again, not significant. This does not mean that protein subunit, inactivated, or viral vector vaccines are ineffective in preventing COVID-19 infection. However, more data is needed to confirm their effectiveness. While for the mRNA vaccines, we have sufficient evidence not only to confirm their effectiveness, but also to conclude that these are highly effective. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this episode useful, and download Interval from App Store or Google Play.